that it took a lot of patience. And I believe that God allowed my children to help me with patience. Because you have to be very patient raising 4 kids. You have to be patient now in this world to raise one child. So with that in mind, patience is a powerful tool that will shape our character, the way we see things in life, the way we view things in life. And it will also continue to allow God to move in our life, because that's the only way he moves is in his time. We can't rush him. We can't fast forward him. We have to just wait on him. And when we wait on him, we can see the good things that he promised. We'll see the restoration in relationships and family members. You can see that job position opening, because you never know. You want that job, but it may not be the right time for you to have that job. Maybe you need to show them that you need to go to work and come to work on time in order for you to get that position. But once you're patient and once you understand what it is that you need to do, then that door will open. Because God only wants better for us. He never wants us to fail. He promised we'll never fail. He don't want us to be defeated. He gave us victory, so we are overcomers. We're not defeated. And so everything that he gives us is better. It's good. It's for our profit. It's for our gain. And some things that we're waiting on, that if we don't get, it's still for our betterment. It's still for our profit. It's still for our gain, because he knows what's best. And it's for his purpose. It's for his plan for our lives. And as we continue to allow ourselves to be fashioned personal and completely into the patient person, into someone who is able to rest and be at peace with what God is doing, the more you will see how peaceful you will be. How when things won't, even when turmoil comes or things come in your life, you won't be so eager to get upset. You will just rest, knowing that, this is happening. Okay, I see. God, I just give it to you. I'm trusting you. And I know that you're just able to take it. You're able to handle it. And you're able to make it all beautiful in its time. And that's what patience really is. It's just sitting back and saying, God, I wait on your timing. And if you see patience as preparing for the right time, I think we'll be more patient. We look at patience as we have to wait, we have to hurry up and wait, we got to wait. But if we look at it as setting you in the right place at the right time, in the right position to be successful, then we can look at patience as a good thing and not always something that we're struggling and having like an obligation or a restriction of some sort. We can embrace patience and we can say, okay, I will wait. And with Abraham and Sarah, they waited and they received the promise. It wasn't in their time. It was in God's timing. Because when God gives you things and when God does things in your life, nothing can hinder it. God will go beyond biological reasoning, medical reasoning, physical abilities. He's not limited to our natural human bodies. He's not limited to our environment. He don't limit us, or we're not limited because we were brought up in abusive home or whatever the case may be. So we're just going to be limited to this. He's not limited. That he'll use the most crazy situation in our lives and transform us into something beautiful. And we're going to sit back and being amazed, like, wow, I came out of that. And now I'm here. Like, whoa. Because he said he makes everything beautiful in his time. And as we look at patience, we see patience as time. We're waiting for him to make it beautiful in our time. And the more that we look at patience as being beautiful, a good thing, a time of reflection, a time to even look inward and say, okay, what's going on in me? What do I need to learn? What do I need to see? Is there something that I need to realize? And most of the time when we are waiting and we're in I call it the holding stage of our lives, when it don't seem like nothing is improving, nothing is coming to pass, I consider those as the holding stage. It's just like an airplane when, hey, it's coming too soon, another plane is coming, but you don't see it. But if they don't put you in a holding pattern, you'll sit there and you'll probably crash, or you'll go the wrong way. The pilot will make the wrong move. He may go too high, may go too low, and then it'll affect everybody. I just see that as how God is using patience in our life and time as, hey, it's just a holding pattern. It's just holding. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I'm just going to hold you for a little bit. Let me hold you for a little bit in the holding pattern, and let me show you. And then eventually I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to let you go forward, and I'm going to bring you to your place. And you're going to see, wow, if I went any further, I would have damaged something. I would have hurt something. This wouldn't have happened to me if I would have went on my own way. I wouldn't now sit back and receive the reaping of the blessings because I waited, because the timing wasn't quite right. And so that's the story of Abraham and Sarah. Their timing weren't right because they wanted their own thing, but then they eventually had to be in a hold pattern and say, okay, God, it's your timing. And when God's timing was perfect for them at that point, then that's when, boom, the door opened, and boom, they were just embraced with everything that they were promised. Let me encourage you with one more story about how timing is so vital in our lives when it comes to being patient and waiting. No other story, another person I could ever think of than Joseph. I mean, here you have this young man thrown in the pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, imprisoned, lied on, beat, and yet he was in a holding pattern, and yet he continued to wait because God told him, you're going to be great. You're going to be great. But it didn't come easy for him. But in that process, he learned that God was faithful. He learned that God is true to his word. And he was taught forgiveness in the middle of being patient. God was teaching him through the whole time of the importance of forgiveness. The importance of forgetting your past, because it will affect your future. And when Joseph came out of the prison, he was over Potiphar's property. He was over half of his kingdom. He was a very honorable person. He received Potiphar's daughter as his wife, and he had a son, and one of his sons' he named him Manasseh. And the meaning of Manasseh was, God made me forget. So in his process of his holding pattern, of his patience, of his perfect timing for the Lord, God was working on him to show him you can't go into your future holding on to things that was done to you in your past. I have to work this out on you, in you, and through you, because if I don't, you will go in and damage everything else. You won't be successful. You won't be who you really desire to be. You won't be the person and the man that I see and I want you to be. So in that time that Joseph had from the pit all the way to the palace, he was in that holding station, and he reaped way more than he ever lost. God blessed him triple the amount, put him in a position better than he were before, because he was a shepherd boy. Gave him more than was taken from him. But the most important thing that Joseph learned in the process, the power of forgiveness. And he had that opportunity to show that when his brothers came, because during that time, Egypt was in famine. So they came to receive food. And when he saw his brothers and they didn't know, he went through this process of making sure, if his brother's going to do the same thing to his other brother and so forth. But the outcome of it was when they all gathered together, he told them, he said, I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into slavery. And they were frightened because they thought that Joseph would be angry, that Joseph will retaliate, that Joseph will do to them what they did to him. So when they kneeled down in front of Joseph, Joseph said no. He said, get up. He said, I have forgiven you. I don't hold anything against you. I am your brother. You are my family. What you meant to destroy me, what you meant for evil, what you thought that will cause me to destroy my life, it really was good. It turned out for my good. And so he walked away in the right timing of his life, not only to live a life of forgiveness, to show us the power of forgiveness, but he also lived in the right timing to bring his family out of their past, out of their struggle, out of their situation, out of the years of them wanting and waiting for a change in their life. He was able to be the one to bring them out. And they lived peacefully. They lived satisfied. They lived with food and everything because Joseph provided everything for them. When you're looking at your situation, and it may be bleak, it may be hard, it may be even painful, and you may just be tired of just believing, and I just encourage you to just keep hoping. Don't lose your hope. Don't lose the process you're in to see that God's timing is perfect and he will provide everything you need. There is nothing too hard for him. There's nothing impossible. But it's only through him. When David was fighting he had to go for battle and he was fighting, in the war. And he said, God, you were able to allow me to run through troops. And because of you, I leaped over walls. In his timing of his life, God allowed him to excel. Even in the midst of all the stuff that he'd been through, even in the midst of the things that he encountered and the pain that he caused other people, God allowed him to excel at the right time and at the right place. Be encouraged. You're in the right place. You're in the right holding pattern right now in your life. Allow God to just teach you and show you how he will make everything beautiful in your life in his time. See patience as a holding pattern that is showing you and is going to teach you to be strong in character, to develop your own personal well-being. But most of all, it will teach you to know that time is in his hands and it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to make it. I believe it. You're going to make it. Thank you for tuning in to Live with Necee. I am your host, Opal Bailey. God bless.